I've been thinking a lot about big data recently, and specifically what it means for non-technical people. People who don't know what Hadoop is, don't know what massive parallel data processing means, and frankly don't care, but really do need to understand the implications of big data. And why is that? Well, in 2000, I just read a statistic recently. Less than a quarter of all data that was stored in digital format. Now, 12, 13 years later, less than 2% of all data is stored in a non-digital format. And every 3 years, the amount of data that we store doubles. So it's a huge amount. And what has that done to us as business owners, as people who run organizations? Well, it's really created a paradigm shift. In the past, when we wanted to analyze data at our disposal, because the sample size was small, we often had to sort of look in the rearview mirror and try to figure out causality. Why was stuff happening to my business? With big data, because data is coming from everywhere around us in real time, it changes that intrinsically to the point now where it's not about looking backwards to find causality, it's about looking forward and trying to predict what's going to happen in the future, looking at patterns and correlation in that data. Now, what that means for us is we've got a big challenge ahead of us, and my goal is to take this very complex problem and try to boil it down for you and give you some practical advice about how to address it. So over the next series of video logs, we're going to talk about things like how do you collect data efficiently, how do you manage information, and how do you share insights. But before we even do that, we need to talk about strategy. Where do I start? I wrote another blog recently where I sort of equated where we are in the context of big data to, I don't know if you've been to any sporting events or anything where they'll do these promotions and they'll line up babies at a starting line, or they'll line up small dogs and they'll say go, and the babies, the dogs, they scatter in different directions and they're all trying to go towards a finish line, right, to win. Problem is most of them don't know which way to go. So right now in this big data era, people are sort of at that starting line trying to figure out, where do I go? The folks that have started moving without really thinking about what it is they're trying to accomplish may end up going in the wrong direction. So the first thing we want to do is make sure you're pointed in the right direction.